every 2 weeks. Earlier this season, a CBC News investigation found that in the vast majority of those cases, the person who died suffered from mental health issues or addiction. The investigation didn't end there. Since then, our team has been looking at what's being tried to bring those numbers down, and that brings us to tonight's story. It's about Canada's mental health courts. They exist in some form in nearly every province, but you may never have heard of them. The CBC's Diana Swain is about to change that.
I cannot say how lucky I was that nobody got hurt. Not me, but I mean, I didn't kill or hurt anybody else.
Tomi Abriel says he doesn't even remember aimlessly driving around Halifax that night 2 years ago. He'd swallowed alcohol and Ativan before bed, hoping it would knock him out.
Somebody saw me wandering around out there in a haze.
He was sleep-deprived, high, and as would soon become apparent to the officers who arrested him, he was not well.
And my next cognizant memory was being on the floor at the Halifax police station with the two officers on top of me trying to help me not injure myself.
Tomi has struggled most of his life with mental health problems, including severe anxiety. But the sudden death of his 20-year-old daughter, Alicia, is what he says pushed him to soothe himself with drugs and booze.
I cannot begin to describe how low that I felt. And I just knew that I need something to bring me up to normal. Not to get high, but I just want to have a normal life like everybody else.
For the first time in his life, his mental health problems had him facing the prospect of jail. But his case was moved to a specialized court, one that finally forced him to get the intensive mental health support he needed.
I had no idea of a court for mental health people. I had no idea.
Judges in Canada don't typically allow cameras in their courtrooms, but Nova Scotia Chief Judge Pamela Williams agreed to let us in to show what happens in her mental health court and why she believes it's a better answer than sending some people into the general court system. What happens in this room carries the same legal weight as a regular court, but that's about where the similarity ends.
Good afternoon.
You don't typically see artwork on the walls donated by those who've appeared in court. And note that slogan over the judge's head, letting people know that just because you have a past does not mean you have no future.
We have not done a particularly great job in the traditional system with some folks that have severe mental illness. They find themselves returning to regular court more often, not coming to court more often, being arrested more often, being in jail more often, things.
They're incredible.
People whose cases are moved here agree to take part in a program aimed at getting them well and keeping them out of trouble with the law. In Tomi's case, that meant he had to agree to regular drug and alcohol tests, any therapy the court recommended, and to show up sometimes as often as once a week to answer the judge's questions about how he was doing.
We take a more individualized approach. We get to know these people better, know what their circumstances are, what has led to them breaking the law, and then try to deal with the root causes.
She's aware of the data we reported earlier this year. It showed that roughly 3/4 of the 461 people killed in confrontations with Canadian police over the past 2 decades suffered either from mental health issues or substance abuse.
And I'm wondering if you see this as one remedy to trying to bring those numbers down.
Absolutely. Most people who come into conflict with the law are compromised, whether it's poverty, education, mental illness, addictions, or any combination of those things. They would be by far the majority of the folks that we see.
The judge, lawyers for the Crown and defense, and mental health workers meet often to review the cases and discuss which new ones they'll accept. But the criteria are strict. Even if they believe someone is mentally ill, they'll only take them in if the evidence points to a direct connection with the crime. It's a frustration for legal aid lawyer Kelly Roulette, who's been with the court since it started nearly 10 years ago. She says the restriction is leaving too many people who would benefit from the court's intensive programs without help.
The problem is there's so many people who are traumatized. There's so many people who are sexually abused. There's so many people who, all this alcohol stuff. But these people don't qualify for anything.
That's starting to change. The Dartmouth court is trying out a similar program for people facing jail because of their alcohol abuse.
So how long have you been living there?
I've been living here for about 10 months.
And what's it like?
That's not too bad. It's a good place for people in recovery.
Daryl Horachek has been living in this treatment facility, ironically on the same street where he says he spent his worst days.
If I'd been homeless here, I'd actually pushed a cart down Roby Street at one point in my
Down the
life.
street?
Yeah, collected bottles on Sunday. What are my options, right? Like, I'm trying my best to get better.
He'd gone from having a job and drinking with friends on the weekends to skin and bones and drinking virtually anything he could find.
Like, I'm talking about 40 ounces of vodka a day. That's if I can afford it. 'Cause when I've been in my grid of being on the streets, it's like Listerine and hand sanitizer.
Last year, drunk and desperate, he walked into this bank and demanded money for booze. He was now facing prison. After spending 7 months in jail awaiting trial, he became the first person in the court's pilot program for alcoholics.
So let us know how things are going.
Oh, they're going pretty good. I just got my driver's license, so
Excellent.
that's a bonus.
Healthier than he says he's been in a long time, Daryl's now been in the program for almost a year. With the judge's permission, he let us film his court appearance.
What are the meetings that you're attending?
I attend NA, Narcotics Anonymous,
Yes?
and I also attend 7-step meetings.
Yes?
And then I also see, like, my counselors, too.
Doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
All right, well, thank
All
you very
right,
much.
great. Thanks.
Hey,
Daryl, how you doing?
good, how are you doing?
If you finish the programs without slipping up, there's a chance the charges against you will be withdrawn, as Tommy's were. But we brought the two men together to talk about the court. They agree the lure of a lighter sentence is part of the attraction.
Did you ever really feel like, if I don't live up to this, then back I go to jail? Like, did you really take them seriously when they said that?
Yes, because I, on more than one occasion, while going to court, have seen people been ejected from the and I'm like, this is real, man. It's like this isn't some slap on the wrist romper room thing. This is the real deal, and the expectations are there for me to stay at this level.
But does it effectively become a get-out-of-jail-free card for serious crimes?
Success is relative. What we've seen is that if they are reoffending, they're doing so less severely and less often if they've had the chance to go through the mental health court, because they've learned some tools to help to deal with stressful situations, and they've got connections to the community.
Tommy is back at work and using his love of music to keep him steady in rough moments. He knows his demons are always lurking nearby.
That 800-pound gorilla, he's out there somewheres, and I don't want to run into him again. And in order for that to not happen, I have to be diligent about keeping myself involved in my own recovery.
It's a recovery he credits to mental health court, something he suspects many Canadians don't know exists.